Hi, welcome back. I'm so excited that you are here. I'm going to share my screen so you can see what we're doing today. And thank you for joining me. I am Sasha Reinke, your mindset coach and master healer. And in today's presentation, we are going to be going over understanding sleep, dreaming, and rest so you can understand your mind and transform it. Yay! So the presentation outline, we're going to go over sleep stages. We're going to go over how to get better sleep and a bunch of tools to help you fall asleep that are non-medicated. We're going to go over dreaming. What are dreams? Why do we dream? How do we dream? Common dreams, remembering dreams. And then, of course, rest. How to actually rest, how your brain sees rest, your pineal gland, a lot about that, and how to do a body reset. So let's get started. I also want to remind you to download your morning meditation and evening hypnosis, which are in your curriculum. So definitely download those. I highly recommend doing those every single day for 30 days. You can use your habit tracker, which is also in your curriculum, to make sure that you're doing them. I always recommend headphones because it helps kind of block any kind of noise, helps you focus and stay more attentive to the actual program. And then also make sure that you are doing the morning meditation. You can do them at any time really, but I really suggest the morning meditation is kind of like before 3 o'clock and then evening is kind of after 3 o'clock. All right. So stages of sleep cycle. There are 5 stages of the sleep cycle. Stage 1, which is your waking stage. This is your higher mental activity. Now, this is gamma. Your higher mental activity is like when you are in flow or you are really, truly feeling the synapse connections and you're just engaged and into something really, really intensely. It is not just busy work. Okay. So gamma is really a state where you're just really like your brain's kind of like on fire and excited and you're totally engaged and on the ball for something. Stage 2, which is relaxed wakefulness. It's called relaxed wakefulness, even though most of us are not relaxed in this state. Beta is the actual brainwave, and there's another term which is called high beta. So most people, instead of being in beta, they're actually in high beta, which is a state of fight, flight, or freeze, essentially. So to get out of that, you have to sort of stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system so that you can get out of fight, flight, and freeze and go ahead and be able to transition in and out of beta into either the alpha or gamma states. So basically beta is an active, busy thinking. So this is like when we're doing tasks, when we have challenges that we're faced with that we have to come up with solutions or answers for. That's sort of like normal daily life for most people. Then alpha, the next stage, which is called light sleep. This is your calm, relaxed, yet alert state. So this is sort of like when you're gazing or when you're thinking, when you're focusing on something. It can also be a slight awake hypnosis. So if you're watching a TV show and you're just kind of zoning out, this is still that alpha brainwave area. The next stage is what's called stage 4. It is your REM sleep or theta. This is your deep state of relaxation. This is also, you can achieve this through meditation. And this is where REM kicks in. So your rapid eye movement area. So this is where you start to really kind of have like a dream or dream state where you're having dreams. And theta is where when you go into meditation or hypnosis, the goal is to kind of get into that stage where you are slightly between alpha and theta. So you are basically at the precipice or the door to the unconscious mind, but you want to be able to still have a little bit of control to where you can tell the unconscious mind, hey, here's the new programming I want you to introduce into the brain and take it and solidify it as an autopilot pattern. So when we do our mindfulness practices, when we do our meditation, when we do our hypnosis, this is the stage that we're kind of looking for. And you can put yourself into this stage right on the door, right? Pretty much like opening the door, but not stepping into full sleep. So you can do this by literally lifting your eyelids up. We discussed this in the section where you do self-hypnosis, but lifting your eyelids up, you're going to look at a real or imagined spot on your forehead, typically between your eyes, and then you're just going to let them sit there until they start to kind of flutter until it gets a little bit uncomfortable. You start to blink a lot. That's okay. Then you're going to close your eyelids. And if you can see what my eyes are doing, they're starting to flicker. Now, I am technically, I'm doing a presentation, so I'm very alert right now. I'm at least in a beta brainwave pattern at the moment. But when you do that and you're in a relaxed state, like laying down or in your meditation or your mindfulness practice space, that is where you can start to really kind of give that messaging to your mind, okay? So transitioning from theta, now we go into basically stage 5, which is your deep sleep. This is your healing sleep. So this is where your body does a lot of its recovery. This is also where your body really gets true rest. All right. So we can do lots of rest while we're awake, or we can think, oh, I did a workout, I'm going to rest now. Rest is sort of a word that's sort of fake in our waking life. We want to have true, deep relaxation rest, which is right here in this deep sleep, healing sleep area. This is your delta sleep. This is where you pretty kind of shut off essentially your REM, and you're in a very deep, unaware state. So this is where, especially children, and it's very difficult to wake them up from this state. They're so deep into it. But for most people, this is the area where you will not wake up from this. So when you're transitioning in and out of it, that's where you are susceptible to waking up. But in your deep delta state, you want to just stay there for a while so your body can do its recovery and healing. So the role of genes and neurotransmitters. I love the science of this. So chemical signals to sleep. So clusters of sleep promoting neurons in many parts of the brain become more active as we get ready for bed, sort of being triggered and fired, and just firing and wiring. We kind of get those triggers that say, oh, we're getting into our sleep pattern practice. Nerve signaling chemicals called neurotransmitters can switch off or dampen the activity of cells that signal arousal or relaxation. GABA is associated with sleep, muscle relaxation, and sedation. Neurotropamine, or let's see, orexin, also called hyperossetrine, I'm probably saying that wrong, keeps some parts of the brain active while others are awake. And our other neurotransmitters that shape sleep and wakefulness include all of these other things. And some of these we've heard of, acetylcholine, histamine, adrenaline, cortisol, and serotonin. So these are sort of the hormones that we would be producing if we actually want wakefulness. So we'll kind of get into the ways of falling asleep in just a moment, but I just want to touch on these brainwave patterns. Just check out, and we'll go back for a second, and we'll look at again, gamma, beta, alpha, theta, delta. So gamma right here, beta. So gamma is where you are in a state of intense, excited thinking, neurological thinking, okay? So this is where you're really in the zone and you're creating and you're doing something. Look how intense that brainwave pattern is, right? That's amazing. Then we go into beta, or also what's not shown here is called high beta. And high beta basically is where we're in that kind of high cortisol stress pattern. So we've gone from beta to a little bit of an extreme, but in a negative, stressed way. We're not going into gamma where we actually get really creative thought. We're in high beta most of the time. So what you can do is get out of that, basically, is to relax your parasympathetic nervous system. And we'll go over that in all these ways that you can actually learn how to go to sleep. So then you transition to alpha waves. This is where it starts to become little slowed down, then theta waves, it's slowing down even more, and finally delta, your deep healing sleep. Look how relaxed that line is. I love it. And then of course these are the frequency ranges. So this is where your brain is vibrating at in a hertz, right? A vibration pattern. And one of the things you can do, we'll talk about in a second also, is do binaural beats and actually kind of tap into these different ranges and get yourself into different states by using a binaural beat pattern. Okay, so the two other parts that we haven't quite discussed, non-REM, so NREM sleep, or the well-known cousin of REM sleep. A lot of people have heard of REM sleep, your rapid eye movement, fluttering sleep, but also non-REM has 3 stages. So why is this important? Understanding how your brain works is crucial and to be able to control your mind, okay? You are not your mind, you are something else, but your mind takes over and puts us in a state of fight, flight, or freeze, right? In that high beta, not really constructive zone. And then what happens? We don't really get anything done. We feel really, really busy. We aren't accomplishing our goals. We're not able to manifest things into our life with ease. And so when you really understand what's going on with the neurology of your brain, right? You can actually have the awareness and take control of it, and then make this transition and really transform your life for the positive, for the better. So non-REM sleep, these are the 3 stages. It's N1, N2, N3. N1, of course, is right when you're kind of starting to fall asleep. This is what's considered very light sleep. You can wake up very quickly. You can be startled awake very easily. N2 lasts about 30 to 60 minutes, and this is where you slip into the delta time frame. And then N3 is the deep sleep. It lasts about 20 to 45 minutes. And then delta brain activity increases, and the person may or may not have body movements, twitches. This is where people would sleepwalk, talk in their sleep, things like that. It is hard to wake people up at that stage. Moving over to REM sleep, though, REM sleep, breathing becomes irregular, blood pressure rises, and there's a loss of muscle tone. You basically have a sense of paralysis. This is to prevent you from sleepwalking, but it doesn't always work sometimes. And so just understanding these two and how they fall into play, a lot of us struggle with falling asleep. And a lot of people I talk with have a hard time getting into a quality sleep pattern. And they think that poof, they should be asleep instantly. Like, I'm tired, I should be asleep. But you have to give your brain the transition time. So understanding how this works for your mind should take the pressure off. Okay, so just understanding it, awareness is power. And once you have that power, you can now start to control it and make adjustments accordingly. I love this fact. I just wanted to throw this in here for everybody. Time spent sleeping or not sleeping. The average person spends 26 years sleeping, which is very interesting, right? We all are given the exact same amount of time, but we spend a lot of it sleeping. So you can take this information again and turn it into power. So if you know that your body feels good if you sleep 5 hours, right, versus 8 hours, this is incredible information for you to have. Now, everyone's going to be different, but I have found as long as I'm going to sleep and I get a good quality 5 hours, I can actually be more productive with less sleep than a good 8 to 10 hours of sleep. I actually feel more sluggish. My body's transitioning into another sleep mode, and then it gets interrupted and it makes me feel sluggish. The other thing you can do is try to stop using an alarm clock and actually just sleep train your body. We'll talk about that in a moment, so that you can go ahead and not use an alarm and then wake up feeling actually really refreshed. So 26 years is the average amount of time someone spends sleeping, literally. Think about, the Disney cartoon Sleeping Beauty. Literally, you're asleep for 26 years of your life. Now, 9,490 days, or 227,000 hours roughly. What's amazing about this, surprisingly, is that we also spend about 7 years on average trying to get to sleep. Isn't that kind of sad a little bit? Like, we should be using that time much more efficiently. So this is the total time of someone's entire life. So how do you get to sleep? Here are the tools. And these are not medicated tools. So these are things that you can sleep train your body to identify and get into a pattern to trigger your body into sleeping. Okay. The idea is to get your body to transition so that it knows that it's going to be going to sleep, anticipate it, start creating all of the proper chemicals and hormones that help you sleep. So by the time your head hits the pillow, you're already in a relaxed state, so you can transition through the sleep stages very easily. Okay, so number one, I'm going to point out the sleep mask in conjunction with the dark room. So realistically, you need to have black darkness. If you're a person who does not like to have darkness, I can totally empathize with this. However, your body needs it. So do what you can to kind of work through shadow work and work through some spiritual work to get to get into the place where you can be in a dark black room, but this is actually better for your body. And it might actually help you with any kind of concerns of the dark because now you're sleeping better through it. So dark room, curtains that take out the light, literally black as night as you can possibly get in there. Sleep with an eye mask because this will actually do two things for you. First of all, it applies a very light pressure to your eyelids, which actually can stimulate them to relax. And then it also makes it totally dark. So your brain isn't seeing any light and not creating the hormones it needs to fall asleep. A cool gel mask can also work for this. So if you're not really into the fact that it's going to be on your face or you want to be able to open your eyes or blink comfortably, a gel mask is a great alternative, okay? So this says sleep mask, but it's actually supposed to say lavender. And so I'll fix that. But lavender, use nature to help you fall asleep, not chemicals. So lavender is a natural sleep aid. It is super calming. It's super cathartic and healing. And it smells absolutely wonderful. If you're not a big fan of the smell of lavender, you can still find usually essential oils. One in particular that I really like is Vitality Extracts. They have one that has technically lavender in it, so you get the benefits of lavender, but it has a citrus to it. So it smells more citrusy and more, I think it's a tangerine or blood orange that they use. So it smells wonderful, but you're not smelling the lavender, but you're still getting the benefits of the lavender. So definitely check that out. That's by vitalityextracts.com. Chamomile tea and also lavender tea. So you can drink tea just before bed, just like 1 cup, sort of like either 6 to 8 ounces, and literally start to trigger your body into a relaxed state. Foot massages are amazing, especially if you look at where her thumbs are in this image. This is a trigger point for your body. This is a pressure point, and applying it, I call it the reset button. We'll talk about that later. And then also in the self-care module, you'll hear a lot about this. If you push on this pressure point, it literally kind of sends a signal all the way through your body to relax. It's literally what I call your reset button. We already talked about dark room temperature. Room temperature is key. Room temperature should be 60 to 67 degrees. Now, if that sounds cold for you, use a weighted blanket, which we'll talk about in a second. But your room temperature, your body will feel a lot better and sink into a deeper state of relaxed sleep if it's a little bit colder than hot. Sound and sleep apps. Now, I want to kind of shy away from using technology because I think that you should get away from blue light, but there are some really good apps out there. What I recommend, and actually what I do use, is I use what's called Nature Sound. It's a free app. They have I think a couple $1 version, but I just use the free one, and it literally, I'll show you what it looks like. It literally is just this little app, and it's going to pop up here, and you can pick different sounds. So I personally like Rain on Tarp. So this is what you can hear it. This is what I listen to at night. I listen to it all night. I keep the phone away so that so it's not like right next to my head, and the room just sounds like basically Rain on Tarp. And the other app that you can use that I really highly recommend is called Solvana. It's by Mindvalley, and it is also a free app. They do have a paid version, but you can get a bunch of their actual meditations for free. And it just looks like this, where you have all of these wonderful, insightful meditations that you can do at night. So I highly recommend that one as well. And then of course, Tapping Solutions, that is a third one that is on my phone, and it's the tapping. So in the module, when you learn how to do the tapping, this is a sequencing one. So I'll put those in the resources also, so you just have links to those. It makes it nice and easy. The next set of helpful sleep tools are self-hypnosis. Like I was mentioning earlier, roll your eyes up, allow them to flicker and flutter, and then close your eyelids, still having your eyes looking up. When you start to get that little bit of tension behind your eyes, then relax them, tilt your chin down, walk yourself down 10 steps, and then tell yourself what you want to reprogram. This will just relax you and get you into, a state of hypnosis, self-hypnosis. EFT tapping, again, one of the wonderful things you can do is learn how to do tapping. All right, learn how to do the tapping. It is literally a neurological reset for any kind of stress and anxiety. So when I was mentioning that your body is usually in a state of beta or high beta, and it's because many people can't get their parasympathetic nervous system to turn on. So they're in a constant state of chronic stress and anxiety. And because of that, they're in a state of fight, flight, or freeze. And so what you need to do is first realize that might be happening to you, especially if you have chronic anxiety or any kind of PTSD from a situation, or just constantly feel stressed out, overworked, high strung, anything like that. If you feel yourself snapping a lot, you need to get your parasympathetic nervous system to kick on. This is crucial for you, for your health, for your long-term health, and for your long-term wellness. So self-hypnosis, tapping. Tapping will definitely it's a reset button. So all of the wiring throughout your entire body, there are little points where if you press on them and stimulate them, they send signals to the brain, and you get a synapse trigger that basically says, oh, we're having some trauma into a spot. We need to relax that area. But your physiology will shift to make the relaxing hormones and chemicals. And so you start tapping, and that is what you're doing. And then you can add to the tapping with doing some mindfulness and some breath work, and it's just amazing. So you'll learn that in the tapping section. Binaural beats. Binaural beats are basically tonalities. So the natural tonalities that get our body to relax, you can just listen to this in headphones. It's absolutely amazing. ASMR is another incredible tool, and you can go on YouTube and find literally thousands of ASMR videos. Use it with headphones, and it's literally just people brushing microphones here. Just the brushing of the microphone and making these sounds, or just tapping the microphone. I don't know if you can hear that. And what happens is it literally just kind of stress eases your brain. Basically, if you haven't tried it, go check it out. Marma head points. We'll also talk about that in my signature self-care program. And then this is the weighted blanket. So get yourself a weighted blanket. A lot of times what's happening when we're afraid of the dark, or we can't get to sleep, or we want the room to be warm, it's because we actually need a sense of comfort. So think about like a baby who needs to be held and just kind of comforted. Your weighted blanket will take that basic primary need and help you with it. So your weighted blanket basically is going to kind of pacify your reptilian, mammalian brain responses. And so the need to feel safe and secure and hugged and cared for, that's where the weighted blanket puts that weight on you, and it basically pacifies that need so that you can relax and go to sleep. No tech. Try to keep tech away from your bed. The blue light is really terrible. You can do something, if you're gonna have to work at night, I highly recommend getting blue light glasses. I'll show you like these. You'll notice that the glare is a little bit intense. That's because it's blocking the blue light from the computer. So it actually will ease any eye tension or eye strain pain. These are wonderful. I absolutely love mine. I will put a link in the resources. Mine are by classyshop.com. This is not a promo. I just happen to keep them by my computer at all times. So if you do have to use tech, get some blue light glasses. They're usually about $20 to $60, and they literally make a huge impact on eye strain and any kind of eye tension, red eye, anything like that. And then try to keep the tech away, shut it off at least 30 minutes before you're going to go to sleep. And of course, stretching or yoga, yoga. All right, we'll have to change that, but yoga. All right, food for thought. Our truest life is when we are in dreams, awake. Henry David Thoreau. I'm going to say that again. Our truest life is when we are in dreams, awake. We're talking about manifestation, bringing our goals and dreams into reality and literally living them. Okay, so this is where we're transitioning to. So we're going to talk about dreams next. Dreams. The dreamer's definition. A dream is a succession of images, ideas, emotions, and sensations that usually occur involuntarily in the mind during certain stages of sleep. Dreams mainly occur in the rapid eye movement REM stage of sleep when brain activity is high and resembles that of being awake. So we are totally creating. When we're asleep, we're having a reality check that we just forget every time we wake up. It's incredible. So if you can think about this, the idea is to mesh these two worlds, your physical embodiment of tangible matter with this creative, celestial, vibrational energy body, and bring them together so that you have this cohesive unit and basically call in those dreams, desires that you want to manifest. So this is the goal, right? So why do we dream? We'll go over a little bit of this first. To process our feelings, we dream to review our memories, to figure out problems, or reaffirm our unconscious self-image. This is also big. Different kinds of dreams. I love this owl. Reoccurring dreams. This is just super fun. Reoccurring dreams, if you're stuck in the same dream, ask it what message you need to hear. A reoccurring dream is usually because your brain is trying to send you a message and get you to talk to it, essentially. And so the best thing you could do is just ask your dream. Set an intention before you go to sleep. Do your self-hypnosis. And as you're doing it, say, what do I need to learn from this dream? What is this dream trying to tell me? And then in the morning, immediately wake up and write down whatever you have. The more you do that, your brain will actually get the message like, oh, you want to remember your dreams. Okay, we'll give you as much information as we can. The other thing you can do to train your brain is literally give it commands. You can tell it, I'm going to go to sleep. Don't wake me up unless there's an emergency. And an emergency is, like a fire or burglary, right? Nothing else. If the neighbor comes home late, we don't need to hear that. And so don't wake me up, but remind me of whatever I need to know in the morning. Okay. So you can just talk to your brain like that. Daydreams. Oh, I love daydreams. These are very healthy and they allow your body to rest while your brain can create, which is just ideal. Lucid dreams, this is an active pineal gland. Okay, so we're going to go on the pineal gland deep dive in just a minute. But the pineal gland, if you're having lucid dreams, you have a very healthy pineal gland, which is amazing. You can have out-of-body experiences. You can have all sorts of cool things when you have a healthy pineal gland. And of course, nightmares. Nightmares can be really, really terrifying and really scary, but they basically represent a lack of control or a desire to change something important in your life. So listen to them. What are they trying to do? And a lot of times, again, our unconscious mind works with feelings and will give us imagery to give us a feeling. It doesn't necessarily accurately represent what it is that needs to change. So if you're having a really terrifying dream, it's not that something terrifying is going to happen in your life. It's, hey, wake up to this. You need to change this. You need to change the situation, okay? But your brain thinks in images and feeling, not in logical, hey, here's your to-do list. This is what you need to change. Our most common recurring dreams, this is also really fun, teeth dreams. Teeth dreams, this represents loss of confidence or low self-esteem. Falling is a warning from your subconscious. So, what's going on in your life? You're getting a warning. Naked dreams, this is a feeling of vulnerable. You're feeling vulnerable in some way or area of your daily life. Dying represents change. Again, this is where the brain will give you imagery that doesn't represent the actual situation that's occurring. So a dying dream represents change, not that you're actually dying, or an end to something and a new beginning. Being chased is you're being pushed to face a problem from your unconscious mind, and then flying, your subconscious is asking you to let go or let go of trying to control, which is super, super important. So flying dreams, let it go. Just let go. All right. A prophetic dream. Do you see the future in your dreams? This is so exciting. I've had these dreams before. Is it real? Yes and no. So, is it real? If you have a very healthy pineal gland, yes, you can technically get out-of-body experiences, these prophetic dreams. They're usually a possibility. They're not necessarily an absolute concrete. They're a possibility of what can happen in the future. And so you can make changes or learn lessons from them. And of course, the other flip side of the coin is no. Your brain is a great predictor, so it could also just be trying to resolve anxiety that you're feeling about the future. How to remember your dreams. Wake up without an alarm. So when you are startled awake, it just kind of stops the memory bank for a moment, because now your brain is like, what's going on? What's happening? There's a problem. I have to focus all my attention on this impending doom. So it'll just terminate whatever memory you were just thinking of. So try, if you can, at least periodically, to wake up without an alarm. And this will give you a better ability to go ahead and remember your dreams. You can also remind yourself to remember, and this is what I was saying a moment ago. So you want to talk to your brain and say literally, hey, your job, brain, is to keep me safe while I sleep. Don't wake me up unless there's an emergency, and remind me of what I need to hear in the morning. Don't wake me up for it. Remind me in the morning. So for instance, I actually imagine my brain as a Doberman Pinscher, which is so funny because I only have little dogs, but I imagine as this beautiful, sleek, intelligent, super powerful and strong Doberman. And her name is Madison. I named her. And I tell her every night, keep me safe. Don't wake me up unless there's an emergency, and remind me what I would need to hear in the morning. And she does. She does a great job. And so that visual imagery is what I use for my brain. You can use whatever you want, but it works really, really effectively. And the more you talk to your brain, the more your brain will listen. And then, of course, write it down right away. Just write it down. The more you write it down, that transfer of information between the imagery and your prefrontal cortex, where you're starting to use your writing skills and whatnot, your brain will say, oh, you want to remember this. This is important to you. So don't just think, oh, that was a really crazy dream, and tell someone about it. Write it down, because that's what tells your brain it's important. I need to actually be relaying this information to you. Pitfalls of avoiding dreams. So if you're using any kind of a chemical substance, whether it be alcohol, prescription or non-prescription based drug, to fall asleep on a continuing basis, you're doing yourself more harm than good. First and foremost, you're not getting into your circadian rhythm, which is your natural body clock. And so being in that altered body clock state can actually cause more anxiety and prevent you from getting into better sleep. And also make it harder for those alternative sleeping aids to work effectively, which means you have to keep increasing the dosage or increasing the amount that you use. So if you can get away from those, you'll actually get back into a quality circadian rhythm and actually get rid of the anxiety and tension that it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So once you get out of those, you can start to kind of retrain your sleep patterns. Also, depression. Because of everything I just mentioned, you can actually slip into a depressive state because of that. And then lack of focus, another sort of terrible situation where you're unable to rest and your parasympathetic nervous system is not able to kick in and take over and heal. So the next phase is to how to manifest while you're dreaming. This is so much fun, and it's actually so easy. Step one is just set a goal before you fall asleep, like we've been mentioning. Step two, journal before bed. So you really, again, use your prefrontal cortex to tell your brain, this is what's important to me. This is what I actually want to do. And then bonus if you do gratitude, because it'll put you in that physiological state where you are in a happy, relaxed, good hormone state. And then of course, step 3 is establish a nightly hypnosis routine. I am a big advocate for night routines if you can do them. Now, of course, life kind of gets in the way sometimes. I have young children. I'm working at night. So, it's one of those things where my routine will, sort of ebb and flow. But if you can establish a quality routine that is best for your body, and then self-hypnosis, no matter what, even if you're super tired, if it's super late, or you've had a stressful day, that's the perfect time to do self-hypnosis. Rest. We're going to hit the big topic now of rest, a little R&R. Why rest? When the body is deprived of sleep, and I'm going to move this so you can see it, when the body is deprived of sleep, it is unable to rebuild and recharge itself adequately. So your body requires rest. Oops. There we go. Ask any athlete, and they will tell you that the rest that they take is essential for physical training. Rest is needed for muscle to repair themselves and to prevent injury. And this is true for anything else in your life. Remember, if you're working that muscle, it gets tired. And when it gets tired, it just starts to break down. You don't want your body and your brain to break down. You want them to be in peak condition. So give yourself rest. But it went forward. Now it's not going. Okay. What is rest? So tips for better rest. Step 1, activate your pineal gland. Your pineal gland will take over, and your pineal gland will give you the best rest you've ever had in your entire life. You'll feel super refreshed. We're going to talk about that next. You'll get better sleep, lucid dreaming, restorative rest, literally healing rest. This is amazing. Step 2, recalibrate your body rhythm, your natural circadian rhythm with the planet. So you want to be in a natural cycle with the planet. So for instance, you can look this up on Google. There's tons of, I didn't put it in here, but there's tons and tons, and it'll shift a little bit based on your geographical location. But for the most part, the time frames are roughly exactly the same. So wherever you are in the world for when your sleeping time is that time. So about 30 minutes of earthing, forest bathing, or natural water therapy will give you this reset. Okay. You want to actually touch the earth though, not just like walk with tennis shoes or go for a jog or a walk. You want to actually physically be touching the earth or the dirt or the water. And step 3, a gratitude practice has been scientifically proven to alter your physiology, like we've been talking about, and to aid in mindset, sleep, and chronic stress. So these are just some easy tips. And then we're going to go into activities your body recognizes as actual rest. So you don't have to just be asleep. Your body can actually rest in various parts of your sleep pattern, waking or sleeping time frame. So first and foremost, gazing. A lot of people think gazing is like kind of weird and they shouldn't be doing it. They should be focused and getting work done. But basically, otherwise known as staring off into space, when you're just kind of like, oh, yeah. Your body slips into a state of rest. Okay, so you can rest for just a few minutes, 20 minutes, just a little bit at a time, but your body's like, oh, just a little shutdown. And then back. Napping, of course, will give you a nice short rest sort of recuperation. It has to be a nap that's not too long, that puts you into a really into a new sleep pattern. So usually about a 20 to 30 minute power nap, as they call. If you fall asleep, that's perfect. If you're struggling with it, just go ahead and get up and then just do something else, like one of the other options. So art can put you in that same kind of creative space where your brain can kind of shut down and just rest. Music, binaural beats, like we talked about. Laughing is actually extremely restorative to your brain and to the brain chemistry. Bonding is amazing. Friendships, community, and a sense of belonging is really healthy and cathartic for you. Animals. Petting an animal actually lowers cortisol, which is your stress hormone. So if you have a pet, just pet them. Get into the nice staring space, relax, feel the bonding, and just get that, that hormone cortisol lowered. Of course, hydration and pH balance, realkaline the body and keep it hydrated for better rest and recovery. And now we're going to talk about the pineal gland, which one is my favorite subjects. Pineal gland, you want to detox it, stimulate it, and then active sleep will help you stimulate it even more. So the pineal gland is this little tiny gland in your endocrine system. It's sort of lovingly referred to as a pine cone. It has a similar-ish type of structure. If you look at the pine cone, for example, in this picture, and you see all these little seed pods, instead of seed pods, you have cone-shaped sort of structures. It's actually the same kind of structures that are behind your eye that allow for visual seeing. You have one in the middle of your head, and that is why it's referred to as Ra, or the third eye, because it sees. It sees while it sleeps, and it sees what we can't see. And so what does it feel like when I stimulate my pineal gland? There's definitely a heightened sense of intuition and knowing. And we're going to go into this now. So your pineal gland, I'm just going to read a little bit of this to you. Your pineal gland is a tiny endocrine gland deep inside the center of your brain. It's located approximately behind the thalamus and the hypothalamus. It is uniquely shaped like what we would think of as a pine cone. The ancient cultures, including the Egyptians, believed that this is what the third eye was, including being referred to as Ra, or to show or to see. It's the center of knowing, seeing, and experiencing the next dimensional plane, and creating your own lucid dreams, out-of-body experiences like astral travel, astral projection, telepathic abilities, and creating DMT, which is a natural occurring psychedelic substance that we make, and all living entities, plants and animals, make in their brain. And it literally is known to humans and is already made inside of us. It produces your endocrine gland, and your pineal gland produces melatonin, serotonin, derived hormones, which modulate sleep patterns in both circadian and seasonal cycles. So this is why earthing and forest bathing and getting into water is so crucial. We want those circadian rhythm and sleep and seasonal cycles to be on par with what's going on the planet, so we can really benefit from all of this. In our modern world, we all essentially have an atrophied pineal gland. And what that means is it's just like a muscle. We're just not using it. So just like if you stopped using your arm for a few months, it would be atrophied. The muscle would be atrophied, and you'd have to rehabilitate your arm. Your pineal gland is, for many of us, barely working, or possibly calcified, which is basically blocked up like a clogged pipe. So what we want to do, and I encourage you to do your own research on this. Oh, and then back to this image. Here it is. It's just this little tiny thing in there. Isn't it cute? We want to detox and decalcify your pineal gland. So this is really important. Your pineal gland can get basically this buildup like a clogged sink drain and filled with all of this muck. And then when it's filled with muck, it's just not going to work. Now, the problem is it's not an isolated event. So it's not like, oh, that gland doesn't work. That's fine. I just won't use it. It's a part of your endocrine system, which means it's mucking up your entire endocrine system to some degree. So some people have it more mucked up. Some people have it less mucked up. It can change over time. So what we want to do is really kind of get it unmucked. We want to clean it out. We want to detox it and decalcify it. So the very first thing is to eliminate fluoride exposure from your water, your toothpaste, your mouthwashes, your cleaning products. Get rid of the fluoride. Fluoride is one of those things that's like a magnet to your pineal gland for some reason. So it will literally, and there's a sort of, if you want to research, there's a lot of chemical explanation on why, but bottom line, it like magnetizes to it. And then it literally calcifies and becomes this hardened crust in your pineal gland. And so you don't want that. So get rid of the fluoride out of your water. You can contact your local water company, make sure if you're actually using any kind of filters that they help get fluoride out of it. And then also make sure that if you're buying water, there's no fluoride added to it. A lot of times fluoride is added to help clean our teeth, but it actually does us a disservice. And your teeth don't have to have fluoride. It's amazing, but your teeth don't have to have fluoride, and any dentist will probably argue with me on this, but I really encourage you to do your own research and see all of the deterring factors that fluoride can do versus the benefits that they can produce in a very tiny, minuscule level. Also, cut out processed food. Again, research your water. Read all the labels. Make sure you're trying to get as much chemical-free food into your body. And this also includes beauty products. So whatever you put on your skin is being absorbed into your body. So, think about that. Consider that. You can do your best to add apple cider vinegar, which can clean your lymph nodes. Jumping jacks, jumping rope, jumping type activities like a trampoline, just jumping up and down. You have to have the impact though. So your endocrine system doesn't have a cleaning system per se. It requires movement to clean itself. And so it'll do like a little quiver, kind of like it's wringing out a dish rag, right? So your endocrine system will kind of squeeze and contract, but it requires impact to get that to stimulate. So jumping, it seems to be one of the most effective ways to do that. Also, make sure you're drinking a full glass of water every morning. Bonus if you put lemon in it, because it'll help pH balance you. Also hydrate you, which is crucial. And then, of course, increase your exposure within reason to natural sunlight so you can stimulate your own vitamin D production and regulate your circadian rhythm and body clock. And then sleep in complete darkness, like we've been talking about, so you can regulate your circadian rhythm and your hormone creation. And then try yoga nidra, the yoga sleep. It's really amazing. Look it up for your area wherever you are locally. You can also look it up on places like Mind Valley, YouTube, Google, all sorts of places. And then as a natural detoxing agent for your whole body, try turmeric. Add turmeric to your food. You can do a turmeric tea. Just try to add, you can just supplement with turmeric, but that will naturally detox your whole body and definitely benefit your endocrine system. So this is a fun exercise we're going to do it a little bit quickly. I encourage you to go through it slowly on your again after we do this, but basically we're going to just stimulate our pineal gland and kind of get it working, and you'll see if you can either feel it or not. So first I want you to put out your hands, close your eyes and take a breath just like normal. Imagine holding a pine cone in your hand, this wonderful pine cone. You're going to visualize a pine cone, whatever type of pine cone you want, any size. This is the most amazing pine cone you've ever seen. I want you to look at the details, the colors, the weight, the texture, the smell, the size dimensions. I want you to do a bunch of analysis on this incredible pine cone. Then I want you to embellish it however you want. If you want to add glitter to it, you want to add sparkles, if you want it to glow, whatever you want to do to this pine cone, embellish it. And then kind of stay in this space for a moment to where this pine cone starts to really feel real to you. And then once you're ready, take that pine cone up to your third eye or the point between your eyebrows, and then hold that pine cone there. Allow it to touch your forehead. When you're ready, imagine this pine cone dissolving into a beautiful white light, then purple, then golden. Imagine this golden light now absorbing into your head, your skin, your skull bone, and finally into your brain tissue. Now envision your golden light settling into the center of your brain. As it settles, it's going to reform back into this most amazing pine cone, the most incredible pine cone that you've ever seen. Imagine this pine cone is glowing with this beautiful golden light. And this golden light shoots out of your head, up, into the heavens, into the clouds. Allow your amazing pine cone to rest in your mind and really become a part of you. And then just sit for a moment, allow your whole body to welcome this new connection you have, this incredible pine cone that's sitting right inside you. Now you can add or embellish your pine cone whenever you want. I also want you to talk to your pine cone. Get to know your pine cone. Start to have a conversation with this incredible pine cone. in the middle of your mind. This is activating your pineal gland. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And so you are putting attention into a point in your brain. You want it to be about 3 inches back from your forehead and about 3 inches down. And now that you've put this in your brain, you've made this connection, you have a visual of where it is, that is stimulating it. When it's stimulated, you'll send energy to it. Naturally, your body will energize it. Now, I would love to hear if you have any incredible dreams after having this. If you don't, and it's hard for you, or you're having a difficult time getting it to stimulate, go back and do some detoxing and do some stimulation. The more you do this, the more you'll get to know your pine cone, and the more your pine cone will communicate with you. Okay, remember, don't be afraid of this. This is your brain. It's yours. So get to know it, become a part of it, and stimulate it in the way you want. All right? Now we come to the reset button. So to reset takes roughly about 30 minutes of your time. So if you're really short on time, I would encourage you to try to manage it into your day. I'm going to move this down here. But a body reset is letting your body, have the necessary downtime it needs to do normal body functions, as well as get a break from heightened chemical creation, aka the fight, flight, freeze response, okay? And to get your parasympathetic nervous system to kick on for naturally detoxing your body. So there's obvious culprits that kind of prevent you from a reset: too much sugar, too much caffeine, blue light, active brain stimulation, etc. Try to limit your exposure to these, and then try to get into a state where you have that dedicated time to do a reset. And okay, so how to easily reset your body. This is so incredibly simple, and yet you're gonna struggle doing it, because it's mostly just making it a habit and remembering to do it. So when you remember to do it, that's when you can actually be like, okay, good, now this is starting to become a habit-forming activity. So earthing is basically just touching the grass, touching the earth. Touch grass, touch dirt, touch rocks, natural stone, natural bodies of water. Just be in it, and be in it for 30 minutes. So read a book. You can technically do earthing while staring at your phone. So if you want to scroll through Instagram for 30 minutes, by all means, do it with your shoes off, okay? You'll still get the benefits of earthing. Another thing, forest bathing. So forests, trees, put out a natural electromagnetic energy surge. It's quantifiable, it's documented. Forest bathing is just being in that surge. So again, bonus points for having your shoes off and earthing at the same time, but your body will absorb this energy and you will feel so much better. Again, it takes about 30 minutes. And then of course, natural water, just play in the river, play in the ocean, play in a stream, wherever you can. Even if you've got young kids, and especially if it's warm enough, you can just dig a hole in the dirt and put water in it. Just do that. Young kids love doing this because their body feels good when they do it. We adults need to take a cue from them and kind of be more childlike and make sure that we can experience that. It's so beneficial. This is your reset. It's easy. So just pick one, do it, make it a habit. And of course, let's see, last but not least, I really want you to live your dream. Just really embody what it is that you want to become. Bring it into, call it into your world, and then literally take everything you've learned here. Knowledge is literally power. So take this information, apply it to your life, apply something immediately, even one thing, apply it, get it started. Starting is the hardest part, but once you get started, it becomes easier and easier. Of course, follow me and connect with me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm at Sasha Reinke, or you can also visit my website, sasharenke.com. I would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining me. Bye.